Hello to everybody. My name is Johanna. I'm from Austria. As Austrian already said, I'm at a integrational service in Austria, and I'm giving you. I have a PowerPoint I want to show you with all my information on, and I am having a little trouble with Zoom because it was here and now it's gone. I don't know what you see right now
We
on
see
your screen.
your first slide.
Yeah.
So
when
if
I
you click
enter, you see the second? No.
No. Let us try. Wonderful. Okay, now we're Mirella. Thank you for saving us. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, but now, please, Johanna, the screen is yours.
Yeah, we are. So, Joanna, I'm from Austria. I'm giving you a little bit of information about the legal matters about the Disability Employment Act in Austria, and about the service we offer to integrate and include people with special needs in the labor market. So first of all, I want to tell you a little bit about that there are people with disabilities. Some people with disabilities have a wheelchair. They have a sort of an artificial leg or something that when you look on them, you see it on the first sight. You see, okay, this is a people with special needs, and you have an imagination what you can do to help him or to be kind, sort of. But others, they are not visible. They have disabilities that are not visible to everybody, and you don't see on the first sight. So in Austria, we have the Disability Employment Act. It's in German called Behinderteneinstellungsgesetz, which is not so important for you. It's a Disability Employment Act. The legal matter is that companies and firms that have more than 25 employees should employ one person with special need. There is, the disability is focused on or set by a governmental service. So you cannot just say, I have a disability. You have you need to go to a doctor, and the doctor is looking at you and having a conversation with you so that they can clarify what sort of disability you have. And it's set in a number of percentage, so that the Disability Employment Act sets into account. You need at least 50% of Grad der Behinderung, it's called in German, so you have to have a 50% disability. A disability is not only, it can also be a health matter that is lasts longer than a period of 6 months. So we have different types of disabilities. 14% in Austria are mobilely disabled, so they have issues or having a hard time to walk or sort of using their feet, we would say. And only 0.5% of them actually need a wheelchair. 3% have impaired vision, whereas only 0.03% are actual blind. 2% have a hearing disimpairment, 7% have multiple impairments and 4% have mental impairments. What does this mean? So diseases, disorders, restrictions in the area of muscular system, metabolism, heart and circulation, respiratory system, immune system, and skin is all taken into account for this 50% of disability you need. So it's with all these parts are set into account. So physical disability, for example, can be a back or spinal problem. Chronic illnesses, for example, diabetes, Crohn's disease, allergies. Then there are cognitive impairments. So there can be people who are having a hard time to read or process information that they already read. Can also be anxiety disorders, burnout, or a depressive mood. Mood swings come in the season. Then psychological stress can be, so anxiety disorders, burnout, and depressive mood we already had. You can have learning difficulties. For example, you need special educational need, extended apprenticeships, or partial qualified apprenticeships, and you can have multiple disabilities, so from all of these parts mixed up. So when we are taking a view on Austria in specific, Austria, we have 25% of people in Austria have a disability. So, and only 3% of them are born with a disability. So the others are the disability is coming through life. So they are born healthy, you say, and the disability came later on. Yeah, this is a total amount in Austria of 1.9 million people. I'm sorry, I'm home, and this was my son. So
don't worry, we're very inclusive because the caregiving is absolutely part of the inclusion, and this is a very important dimension. And thank you so much for sharing openly. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that you can do this from home. So no worries.
All right. So yeah. Hopefully I did not get. See, my PowerPoint stopped again. Back. There we go. So the legal matters is the Disability Employment Act is in Austria that these 1.9% of people also have the opportunity to join the labor market, and they can do good work, but sometimes they just need a little bit of help, some sort of special equipment, or maybe the opportunity to make more breaks, and then they can do a good work. So a person who has reached a degree of disability of at least 50% belongs to the group of beneficially disabled person according to the Disability Employment Act. The determination by means of an assessment notice. So you have to go to the social ministry service, you have to make an appointment there. That's what I already said, and you're having doctors, and you're having an application and determination. You get have to fill out an application form, and then you get a determination, and they tell you that you have how many percentage of disability you have, and they can so that the companies can take that into account. And in Austria, we also have a disability pass, which is more focused on a person. So when you have a disability pass, you have personal benefits from it. But a notice of assessment from the Disability Employment Act is for companies so that they can they get help, financial help from the government for employing people with special needs. So So in Austria, we have an obligation for companies to hire, that companies who employ 25 or more people in Austria must employ at least one disabled person with a disability. So for every 25 employees. So when you have 50 employees, or let's say you have 53 employments, you need to hire two of them, two of people with disabilities. If you do not, so you have to pay an equalization tax. Yeah. So in Austria, there are 201 companies who are obliged to hire. Not all of them do that. Some of them pay the equalization tax. So this is per month. When you have 25 to 99 employees, you pay 335 euros per month. If you have 100 employees or more, you pay 472. And then if you have 400 employees or more, you pay 499 euros a month, 12 months a year. So it sums up. The Disability Employment Act says that you have an increased protection against dismissal. So there is, in the companies, there is a little bit of, to say, fear. If you hire people with a disability, you may never be able to fire them or get rid of them, or if if it's not working out the way you wanted it to work out, that you are legally binded to these people, which is not true. And so the determination, they have an increased protection against dismissal, but there is always a way when you say it's not working out to end the employment. So if a person has is hired and they have an increased protection against dismissal, this comes into force 4 years after the employee started working in the company. So on the first day of the 5th year, they are having an increased protection. When you don't have the determination notice when you started in the firm, it starts 6 months after you got the notice form sheet that you have a notice of yeah.
If it's easier for you, you can totally tell me in German and I will try to help with translation. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of lost my line here.
That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
We didn't feel it. It's really very informative. Thank you so
all
much.
Right. Yeah, so what we try to say is just that you focus on what's possible and not what's impossible when you have to do with people with special needs. Not so much that you say this isn't working out, or we have issues finding a place to set them, or we don't know how to interact with them. So more than you say, okay, what can they do and not what can they not do, and where do they have difficulties. So that you get an idea of how people with special needs can be. I have some examples for you, what we are talking about, what kind of people more or less we are talking about. So it's Michael J. Fox has multiple sclerosis. So he is his muscles are not working the way they should. And he is by now he's sitting in a wheelchair, but maybe he cannot act anymore, but he can do his work. Another example would be John Nash. John Nash is a famous mathematician who at Princeton University and also at MIT in Massachusetts. Maybe you know him from the movie A Beautiful Mind. He has paranoid schizophrenia. It got diagnosed in 1959, but he continued working at the MIT and got the Nobel Prize for mathematics. Muhammad Ali is also an example I got for you. He has issues in reading and process the information he read. So yeah, and put them into a context. In German and Austria, people may know Andi Holzer, who is a famous climber. He was on the, he's blind by birth, born in Austria, he's blind from birth, and he also climbed on the Mount Everest. Wolfgang Reithofer is a famous CEO from the Wienerberger company, and yeah, sitting into high management, you say. He's also paralyzed from his started at the age of 35. By now he's already dead. Wolfgang Schäuble is a German politician. He's also paralyzed and was sitting in a wheelchair. He also died in 2003. So we're more focusing on people with special needs can have their special needs they need on different fields. So they can have learning disabilities, they can be visually impaired, they can have hearing impairment, disabilities or health reduction. They can also have cancer. They can suffer from depression or, for example, diabetes. So all these people are helped to stay in the labor market with with the Disability Employment Act in Austria. So this is so a roundup information from the Disability Employment Act, which was sort of asked for. You have any questions so far to this part?
Thank you so much, Johanna. Amazing, very, very helpful insights, and actually a lot of new things for myself. I mean, it's extremely interesting that, for example, diabetes, cancer treatment is actually also considered as potentially which I would like, you know, you normally think about other kinds of perspectives, but this is and when you talk, for example, about the diabetes, we're talking about the both first and second type of diabetes, or more of the first type of diabetes?
This comes down to the percentage of if you have the first, I'm not so sure in first and second type of diabetes, but it comes down to the how high the percentage is.
I see. And we actually do have very good questions in the chat. Colleagues who ask the questions, do you want me to pick it up, or simply please open the microphone and state the question? So Bimal, I think, was first, and Bimal is asking, has this tax that you mentioned as alternative, you know, for employment, has this tax effectively incentivized compliance, or does it allow companies to buy out sort of their obligation without improving inclusion? Excellent question, Bimal, by the way.
Mirella, please help me out in understanding what the question actually is.
Sorry, can you repeat it once again?
So yes, so the question actually asks, because you introduced us with two alternatives, right? One alternative is that companies hire every 25 employees, once per special with person with special needs, and then or they pay the tax, right?
Right.
So the question is, how many companies do actually prefer to pay the tax over employing, meaning that, I pay and I get off my headache from employing people with disabilities.
I know, I understand.
So to what extent the preferences, if you see from your practice, how it actually works, or does it help to solve the problem?
Yeah, my colleague Tina is also in the chat, and she will answer that question because she actually knows the correct answer.
Hello, everybody. Please, Mirella, you help me to translate. That's my disability. I'm not able to speak English very well. For holiday, it's okay, but not for a student lesson like this. Also wer macht die Einschätzverordnung? Es macht das Ministerium, das überhaupt...
Tina, die Frage war andere. Die Frage wäre gewesen, wie viel
viele
Ausgleichstaxe und
genau, wie viel erfüllen die Pflicht? Und vorher war noch quasi, how is the 50% disability actually derived? Wie es überhaupt zustande kommt, oder? Na?
No, that's another question. We first take the...
Zuerst das andere. Gut. Also in Österreich, man spricht davon, dass es 30% erfüllen zu 100% und 70% erfüllen sie nicht. Wobei das da muss man aufpassen, weil von den 70% erfüllen sie zum Beispiel nur wegen einem nicht. Also wir haben zum Beispiel Firmen, die 4 von 5 Pflichtstellen besetzt haben, aber nur die 5. Pflichtstelle nicht. Und somit fallen sie unter die 70%.
Okay, so in Austria, the situation is that around 30% of the companies fulfill the obligations up to 100%, and 70% do not, but some fall out of the legal obligation because, for example, if they need 5 positions and they have only 4, they are missing 1, so they are barely missing the target.
Genau, deswegen Achtung.
But they are also count that they don't fulfill it. So
yes.
They count to the 70% and it said, okay, you don't fulfill it. So if you look on it, if yes, no, it's only 30% who have a yes, but the no's are also, if you have 5 people you could hire and you already hire 4, this is not taken into account. It's just yes or no.
Aha. So meaning you're not punished or you're not further pushed to fully fulfill the law in a sense.
Und noch ein kleiner
you would still pay the small amount of tax for that one person that you have
for
not
the
hired.
one person you pay the small amount, you still pay it for the 5th person you're missing, but you pay a smaller amount.
Okay.
That is taken into. Yeah.
I see. Excellent.
Kleiner Zusatz noch, es gibt ganz viele Firmen, die klein sind und unter 25 Mitarbeiter und die aber ganz viele Leute mit Behinderung eingestellt haben. Das scheint nirgendwo auf.
So the statistics also is not taken into account companies who have less than 25 employees, who are also hiring a lot of people with disabilities, but they are not taken into the statistics. So they are not counting to this 30 or 70%.
Super. This is very helpful information. And then we have another question from Aaron. Aaron, would you like to say the question by yourself, or I take it? You can unmute yourself. Okay. Yeah, sorry. See, nice that you join even if you have fever. How's meaning quick recovery. But the question from Aaron, how's the 50% disability actually derived? What I mean is when it comes to diagnosis, it is categorical as per ICD and DSM. This seems to be dimensional scale. This is quite specific terminology, so I'm not sure now if I fully understand your question. But maybe you could talk a little bit more about how the percentage is defined. What is the scale? What do they look at? Is it 50 or is it not 50 in a sense? Not, that deep in the medical terms probably, but at the general level, what does it really mean to be 50% disabled? If we look at this, for example, we have this learning disabilities, visual impairments, and, these kind of examples. What would that mean at the general level practice? If in terms of what person can or cannot do.
So, wenn ich es richtig verstanden habe, es geht darum, wie die Einschätzverordnung zustande kommt, gell? Wie man?
Genau.
Okay.
Ja.
Ich habe euch einen Link beigefügt. Es gibt nämlich diese Einschätzverordnung, das nennt sich so. Da steht genau drin, was ist, wenn dir zum Beispiel der rechte Zeigefinger der Zeigefinger an deiner rechten Hand fehlt. Wie viel Prozent Disability hast du dann? Was passiert, wenn zum Beispiel das Augenlicht fehlt? Was passiert, wenn du Brustkrebs hast? Was passiert, wenn deine Knie eine Behinderung haben oder nicht mehr beweglich sind? Da steht alles in der Einschätzverordnung. Ich lasse dir mal übersetzen.
So Tina just said she put down a link where the information is listed, what kind of disease you must have to get this so many percentages. So if you're missing 3 toes, you get 30%. If you're missing 7 toes, you're getting 60%. If you're missing half your leg, you get 100%. This is how it's listed. There is a link down there where they listed the disabilities or the illnesses or things you need to have and how high the percentage is that's counted.
Thank you so much. And good news that we have AI translating from German, so we can actually read it. Yes, super. Any other questions or clarifications? And actually, that helps a lot to understand in a sense that we're not necessarily even talking about, like what you said, the people who cannot fully walk, like they would need a wheelchair or anything, right? So that, it can be also the things that in a way may not be noticeable, as you mentioned in the beginning, right? And Mirella is writing, this is a legal framework that defines how disability percentage. Okay, so you're putting the comment to the thing.
link, yeah.
Yes. Since no questions, I see new ones. A question from me. Now, while we are talking about disabilities that may not even be visible, although they are still 50%, why you think they're so difficult to actually implement this act? What keeps companies from not hiring or not considering people with disabilities? How you feel it from your practice? Because I know you're working with that. So what do you see and hear?
Everybody has the famous build in a picture in his head because of a disability is like the person who is sitting in the wheelchair and he's spastic and so on. And
drooling, people who is sitting, drooling, drooling,
genau.
And not able to help himself. So this is the vision, the picture people have in the vision people have in mind when you're talking about a person with special needs or with a disability.
And we have to bring the persons out of their mind box. So we must change the pictures, and that's very complicated because eben den Zugang finden zu der Person, dass man mit denen reden kann, ins Gespräch kommt und dann einfach darauf hinweist, dass nur weil man eine Behinderung hat, trotzdem leistungsfähig ist. Diese Leistungsfähigkeit ist im Widerspruch meistens. Deswegen auch heute bewusst das Bild mit den High-Performern, mit diesen Bildern, so wie eine Heather Mills, hat ebenfalls einen Behinderungsgrad in unserem Sinne, beziehungsweise wenn es jetzt in Österreich wäre und sich einstufen lässt, weil sie eine Beinprothese hat. Wenn man jetzt mit solchen Menschen spricht und sagt, ihr seid nicht leistungsfähig, werden sie sich denken, seid narrisch, spinnt, das geht ja gar nicht. Und da ist es einfach nur wichtig, dieses Umdenken. Was wäre, wenn Sie jetzt eine Krankheit haben oder heute einen Unfall haben? Ihr Mindset und Ihre Skills sind ja trotzdem vorhanden. Warum sollen Sie nicht leistungsfähig sein in Ihrem Bereich?
So when you're medical, when you're not in good health, you can still work. Maybe you need more breaks. Maybe you can work when you're sitting, or you need to sit, or you need to sit down more often. Maybe you can not climb on high buildings or sort of that, but you can still work. You can still show your skills. You can still perform. And this is when you have to form people's mindset when they're talking about people with special needs, that they are not so much seeing a person who is not able to, that they are more seeing persons and people who are able to, which was the same.
So
Ich hätte
the focus is more on the limitations rather than the actual abilities that people have, right?
Right. So
ein Beispiel. Sie suchen jemanden fürs Büro. Jetzt kann aber sein, jetzt bewirbt sich jemand und wenn ich sage, die hat 50%, werden Sie sich denken, wenn ich Ihnen aber sage, die hat einen Abschluss in der Handelsakademie, die hat 10 Jahre Berufserfahrung, die kann ganz gut telefonieren, Reklamationsbearbeitung machen, dann werden Sie sagen, super, ja genau die will ich. Und dann sage ich, ja, aber genau die hat 50%. Warum? Weil sie kleinwüchsig ist. Macht das jetzt irgendeinen Unterschied fürs Büro?
So what Ms. Malle was saying, that if you think about employing someone in an office and the people hear, oh my gosh, this person has a 50% disability degree, they have all the biases in their head and don't think of the person as capable, when in reality the degree come from maybe diabetes or having arm prosthesis or something that doesn't actually hinder their abilities to work and their capacities. So there's big bias.
Genau.
I see. And as we're preparing for the next question, may I quickly share the screen? Because I don't know if Johanna and Tina knows, but we are playing the game in this hackathon. And this session is in one of this session where we are showing a treasure hunt hint. So let me take a very quick look for those who are participating. This is the third treasure hunt piece, and actually third in the row. So take a moment to take your note. This is something that our participants are collecting throughout the sessions when they are attending, and to appreciate their activeness in attending those different sessions. We have 24 sessions and only in 15 sessions, so you are the lucky ones, where we have this special piece shown. So I hope everyone has now looked at the hint. So this is number 3 in the riddle that you are collecting. So please save it, and I go back from sharing so we can continue the discussion. Yes, thank you so much.
I would have a question, actually. My question would be, what kind of barriers do people with disability often face in companies, not only in specifically in physical barriers in the workplace? Also, wo sind oft die Probleme in den Firmen, auch bei der Arbeitsplatzgestaltung? Sind es eher physische Barrieren, dass man Hardware, Software umstellen muss, oder sind es hauptsächlich die sozialen Probleme und Integration?
Ja. Also es ist weniger das Technische, es ist mehr das Soziale. Dafür haben wir aber ebenfalls Möglichkeiten, also Förderprogramme, die jetzt nicht monetär sind, sondern eher dienstleistungsbezogen, wo ich zum Beispiel einen Jobcoach ins Team dazu hole und dort auch mit dem Team gemeinsam zeige, wie man gemeinsam eben also Defizite, wenn sie vorhanden sind, ausgleichen kann.
Okay, so it's less of the physical barriers, but mainly the social integration aspect that hinders.
Right, right.
Okay.
And we have one more question from Therein. Therein is asking, when an employee is employed under a disability percentage, and actually I was also thinking about the same thing, are they obliged to openly disclose it to the colleagues and also to employer? I mean, how does employer know? So for example, you know, I don't have 3 toes or 4 toes, but I am coming to work. So am I legally obliged to disclose it, first of all, for the employer and also to the colleagues? And how everyone is aware of this percentage after all. So, you know, given this confidentiality, Mirella, I think you may need to help us with translation, but
Yes, please in German. Johanna. Oder
Die
Mirella.
Frage war, ob derjenige muss quasi seinen Akt offenlegen. Das heißt, ob er erklären muss, warum, woher diese 50% kommen. Ob er sagen muss, er hat zum Beispiel nur 3 Zehen, oder muss er sagen, was seine Krankheit ist, die er hat, oder braucht er das nicht sagen?
Also ja, es wäre ratsam, dass er zu Beginn beim Vorstellungsgespräch sagt, ich habe eine Behinderung. Warum? Weil spätestens einmal im Jahr bekommt die Firma Bescheid, wer angerechnet wird, wer nicht. Da steht mit Sozialversicherungsnummer, mit dem Namen, mit Geburtsdatum, da steht alles dabei. Das heißt, es macht Sinn, wenn er sich meldet. Aber nein, er muss nicht sagen, warum. Ja, wenn es etwas ist, was ihn auf seinem Arbeitsplatz gefährden würde, sprich, er weiß, er hat Epilepsie, dann kann er nicht auf einen Dachstuhl raufsteigen, wo er runterfallen könnte. Beispiel.
So sort of the employer knows it because once a year they get a letter from the government where it says you have one person, this is the person's name, who this person has, for example, 50% or 60%, but there isn't a note enclosed to it where this 60% come from. So it's only you have 60%. This is Miss Meyer. She's born on October the 20th, and you are getting, she's counting for a person with special need, but not what her specialty is. So what Tina is saying is in some, it's always good to tell your employer, still tell him what your disability is, especially when it comes to your own safety. So when you are having autism or when you're having epilepsy, and you're not supposed to climb on a ladder or to climb outside on a building, because when you're having an epileptic, oh, I missed the word.
Strike in a sense when it comes,
some sort of.
Yes.
Thank you. When it comes
when the condition appears, sort of.
Yeah,
yes.
when the condition appears and you're sort of fainting, let's call it fainting for now, and you fall down the ladder and you hurt yourself, then it's not good for you, not good for the employee, for the company. So when it comes to your own safety, or when you have diabetes, for example, and you need to test your blood sugar, or when you need to eat something, so that you can stay healthy, it's always better to say, this is my medical condition. When I eat something, it's better. Please, when we have a long meeting, which lasts more than 3 hours, be kind and make after 1.5 hours, make a break so I can grab a bite. Or when you're holding a presentation, that you say, okay, good, after 1.5 hours, you make a break, I can grab a bite and stay healthy and are not getting into medical trouble.
Yes, excellent examples. And Bimal has another question, which was translated now in German in the chat. Thank you, Mirella, amazing. But I still name it for everyone. For example, in Finland, companies who employ people of special needs or people with disability They have some government incentives, some money that is then given to them as a support for employing these people. Is there such thing in Austria or just an obligation rather than the support? Meaning, is there any other incentive from the government than the obligation to hire?
Ja, gibt es auch. Also ja, es gibt viele finanzielle Förderungsanreize. Wir haben aber eben auch diese Dienstleistungen, so wie das Jobcoaching. Es wird immer Firmen geben, die das ausnützen. Es gibt aber viele Firmen, die davon profitieren, die auch den Nutzen und den Mehrwert erkennen. Was uns jetzt sehr gut zuspielt, ist diese ganze Nachhaltigkeitsberichterstattung mit den ESGs, mit diesem ganzen Reporting und diesen KPIs, mit den Kennzahlen, die die Unternehmen machen müssen. Und unsere Aufgabe auch im NEBA Betriebsservice ist es, da auch Angebote und Lösungen für die Firmen zu finden, wie wir da einfach gemeinsam schauen können, dass Firmen hier ihre Social-Kennzahlen erreichen. Und logische Konsequenz daraus ist, dass wir da so gut eine Vertrauensbasis schaffen. Wir kommunizieren da auch immer sehr ehrlich mit den Firmen, die wissen, worauf sie sich einlassen. Und da schaffen wir dann auch immer wieder, dass wir gute Vermittlungen zustande bekommen. Was auch wesentlicher Erfolgsfaktor ist, ich sage immer, bitte lassen wir uns Zeit mit der Besetzung, denn mir ist es lieber, der Prozess für die Inclusion dauert 6 Monate, aber dann haben wir wirklich den richtigen Kandidaten gefunden für den Job, anstatt es muss nächste Woche schon der erste Kandidat anklopfen und dann passt es meistens nicht. Das war ein bisschen viel Text, Entschuldigung.
Mirella, please.
Okay,
It's nice to revise my German. I understand bits and pieces, but I don't think I can translate.
So first of all, yes, there are many financial incentives for the companies that employ the people. There are also other services, such as job coaching, to support the companies in hiring people with disabilities. And yes, some companies do take advantage of these benefits just for the short-term gains, but many take it very seriously. And Ms. Malle was also explaining that the ESG reporting is actually helping in this matter, as it plays a role in encouraging the genuine efforts. And when they are matching disabled people to the companies, they take a lot of time to find the right candidate for the company, because this increases the success, and it's better to wait, for example, 6 months until you find the right person than to just match them quickly, and the match isn't working out so well for both parties.
Ich habe noch einen kleinen Zusatz mit einem netten Bild, vielleicht wie man Inclusion oder den Erfolg von Inklusion am besten vielleicht verbildlichen kann. Wenn Sie, ich weiß nicht, seid ihr Gärtner oder habt ihr schon einmal irgendwo Blumen gepflanzt? Keine Ahnung. Flowers Experience? Okay. Wenn Sie jetzt sagen, ja, Rosen finde ich schön und ich hätte sie gern vor meinem Haus, dann reicht es nicht aus, einfach sich die Rose in einen Topf vors Haus zu setzen. Es kann sein, dass es das falsche Umfeld ist. Wichtig ist, die Rahmenbedingungen dafür zu schaffen. Und das Gleiche ist das, was wir in der Firma machen. Wir müssen mit der Geschäftsführung reden, wir müssen das Management dazu holen, wir müssen die Mitarbeiter vor Ort, die mit denjenigen zusammenarbeiten, auch reden und kommunizieren und entsprechend das Umfeld so schaffen, dass dieser Rosenstock einfach auch gedeihen kann. Sonst funktioniert es nicht. Und da hilft das beste finanzielle Förderprogramm nichts, wenn da die Bereitschaft und da ein Missverständnis da ist.
Tina was saying in examples of gardening, you also, when you put a flower in front of your house, or if you setting a tree, you need to clarify the surroundings. So if you have roses in front of your house where it's really, maybe it's on the north side of your house, because entrances of houses are mostly on the north side, so there is never the sun shining on them. It's always a little bit cooler, maybe the wind is blowing, and roses don't like that. So they will not they will never get beautiful. They will never grow. They will never be as beautiful as they can be when you put them in the south, where they have a lot of sun, where they have a lot of direct sun shining on them, when they're getting the right amount of water. Whereas a cactus, when you put too much water on it, it will also die. So it's more talking with managers, with HR, with colleagues in firms to get the surroundings that people need to do good work is more important than just put somebody there and say, okay, good, do whatever you want, and we hope the best. If it's not working, it's not working.
Excellent. And Mirella took forward another question, a very good question, Bimal, one more time. Appreciate you being very active in the session. So the question comes about the European Accessibility Act that is mandated June 2025. You already did your homework, that's amazing, for digital accessibility. And how likely are companies in Austria to follow these broader EU mandates, as it comes with extra expenses for the company to have an accessibility audits and everything, right? And I guess, you know, of course, we have cases from Austria, but also the same thing very much applies, I guess, to the Finnish companies. So what's your guess?
I'm not quite sure I got the question right.
Ja, also eben gesehen, das mit dem Barrierefreiheitsakt, oder?
Ja.
Mit der digitalen? Okay, im Anhang, ich habe euch den Gesetzesauszug gegeben. Also Unternehmen ab 400 Mitarbeitenden müssen das umsetzen, ja, baulich, digital und auch eben für Mitarbeiterveranstaltungen. Das ist eine Funktion im Ehrenamt, die getätigt werden muss. Es ist so, dass ab Juli gibt es eine eigene Person, die beim Sozialen Ministeriumsservice beauftragt ist, dies zu überprüfen. Und ich vermute, dass digitale Barrierefreiheit am leichtesten zum Überprüfen ist aus jedem Büro, und es wird auch Strafen geben. Die Wirtschaftskammer ist ebenfalls informiert und informiert da auch entsprechend schon weiter. So, yes. Danke für die Übersetzung, Mirella.
I will translate what you just said as well. You were talking about that the law applies to the structural, the digital, and employee events. And there is, in a federal agency, there is a specific role in charge of overseeing the compliance, even for the volunteer-based functions. So yes, penalties will also be enforced.
So we can understand pretty much that this will be taken forward because there will be penalties if the companies do not comply. Is that correct understanding?
Johanna? Bitte noch einmal helfen.
Please repeat.
So meaning that if we think of the answer to the question, so we understand that penalties will be there, which means that you are expecting that this law will be taken, the digital accessibility law should be taken seriously, given that there are penalties planned and supervision planned already. Did we understand correctly?
Ja, also Strafen wird es geben. Quasi.
Yeah, Strafen.
Strafen wird es geben.
The penalties will be there. Okay.
Ja, wobei, Entschuldigung, bei der digitalen Barrierefreiheit ist es, glaube ich, sogar unter 400. Das ist jetzt der Gesetzesauszug für Barrierefreiheitsbeauftragte.
Yes,
Aber
there's a written.
Strafen wird es geben. Auch unter 400 Mitarbeiter.
Okay, for more than
digital under 400.
For more than 400.
No, less than 400.
Less than 400. Okay.
Yeah, also less, yes. Das, was ich jetzt beigefügt habe, ist der Barrierefreiheitsbeauftragte. Der umfasst ganz viel. Also baulich, digital, Sommerfeste und so weiter. Das ist der große.
Now it is obligation for over and from July.
And the digital one also, der Fußpfleger, weiß nicht, was heißt der Fußpfleger? Wenn du Dienstleistungen,
Manicure, pedicure, manicure, you're getting to do
ja,
cosmetics.
sobald du Dienstleistungen digital anbietest, musst du barrierefrei sein.
So
Auch wenn du nur 10 Mitarbeiter hast.
Mirella, maybe you could summarize for us,
Sorry.
please.
Yes, just give me a second, please. Nur damit ich es richtig verstanden habe, also so digitale Dienstleistungen müssen immer barrierefrei gestaltet sein.
Genau.
Okay. So as soon as you offer services in a digital way, they have to be barrier-free, actually.
yeah.
So also from this July 2025, right? So anything that you communicate about your services and so on and so forth, even for smaller companies, there'll be sort of obligation to comply, and there'll be penalties if you don't. So that's sort of, okay, that's the answer. Now, I'm cautious of time. We have several more minutes left, and I wanted to ask you, and I don't see any other questions coming, but I wanted to ask you about the role of supporting organizations. If I understand right, Autark, for example, is one of the supporting organization that helps people with a disability go to the, how many of these kind of organizations are there? What's their role? How often you get the request that we want help, right? Versus that you come and say we can help. How this interaction and support works?
Was meinst
Soll ich sonst
Wie
nochmal
oft mal gefragt
übersetzen?
werden, wie oft
Bitte,
dir
bitte,
gefragt
ja.
werden, dass du hinkommst und quasi eine Beratung machst und wie oft du proaktiv hingehst.
Also ich glaube, die Frage war, wie viele ähnliche Organisationen wie ihr als Autark es in Österreich gibt, ob es viele Ansprechpartner gibt oder ob ihr eher eine Einzelstellung seid.
Okay. Also es ist so, das NEBA Betriebsservice, das ist das Angebot wirklich für die Betriebe, wo wir Menschen mit Behinderung und also Mitarbeitersuchende zusammenführen. Das gibt es in Österreich. NEBA Betriebsservice, das ist das große Projekt. Und dann Autark ist nur ein Träger. Den gibt es nur in Kärnten ausschließlich. Wir haben aber auch noch ganz viele andere Projekte. Wichtig ist die berufliche Integration und das ist NEBA. Also einfach nur NEBA merken.
So there is a professional assistant network all over Austria. It's in every district. We have the same offers that which is on this slide I showed you. So it's the operational service, which is for the companies, and there are 5 others that are for people with special needs. So they can have job assistance where they help people with doing their application form or how to communicate their disabilities in companies. We have job coaching. Is actually a person accompanying you into the company, and he's coming with you and helping you with a training on the job, or he or she is doing a training on the job with you. We have vocational training assistance, which supports companies and trainings during an extended apprenticeship or for younger people who are doing an apprenticeship. We have work assistance, which is advice and workability and job opportunities, career guidance, and support in the application process. And we have the operational service, which is the one-stop shop for the companies who can. If that was the question, or was the question more is how often?
Yeah. And so I just want to understand. So there is this NEBA network, but then where is Autark in this network, for example, right? So sort of where is your role?
The NEBA network is financed by government, and Autark is getting the money to set it into place or to do it.
Wir sind die Umsetzer, Träger. Lebenshilfe, you know Lebenshilfe, for example, or Promente.
There are other
In other countries, like Styria, there are more Träger. There are Lebenshilfe. NEBA is by Lebenshilfe. bei Promente, das ist aufgeteilt. In Kärnten, Pool Position, wir haben alle Projekte von NEBA in einem bei Autark.
So
Das ist
all these projects are offered, sort of offered by the social ministry service. They say this is what we have, what we want to have done in all districts of Austria. And then companies like Autark, like Diakonie, like Lebenshilfe in Austria, so all firms that are doing integrational service can apply and say, we want to do this. And this is not the same company in every district of Austria. So in Carinthia, where we are, it's Autark. And in others, in Styria, for example, it's BAB, sort of, it's Lebenshilfe, it's, yeah.
But for the company who would like to use your services, that would be free services. They don't need to additionally pay for them. So that's quite important to understand. Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much. I think we would love to discuss more, but I'm cautious of time. We booked for 1 hour, and thank you so much for your guidance. And I see our next speaker, Kima, is already here ready for the next session. So many big virtual applause to both of you, Johanna and Tina. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for sharing. We took some few screenshots. Would that be okay? We share them on LinkedIn, appreciating your presence. Would that be okay for both of you, or?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you for helping also our students to learn more and to solve the cases, because this was really very useful information to understand how the system works and how, you know, what companies can get. And Mirella, huge thanks to you for helping us to get through the differences, linguistic differences in this case.